As a boring modern electric guitarist, I really hadn't been exposed to unison strings. But having recently explored different instruments and tunings from around the globe and their ancestral roots, I realized this string configuration exists in chordophones maybe even more so than one individual string, particularly in the form of courses meant to be played together. I had some leftover plain steel .008 sitar strings from one of those experiments, and thought, what the heck, can we learn something from an all-unison tuning? With locking tuners on my available Strat and using the hex wrench trick to secure the loop ends again, I can easily get 6 high E strings to play with. It might be easier to talk through my ideas during the demo, so we can go ahead and get started, with maybe some extra ideas thrown in. This is Kevin from Said Too Much. First, we can hear how going from strumming just one string to 6 sounds. There's an ancient instrument called the Monochord that's literally a bunch of strings tuned to one note that use strum for a continuous drone sound we can try to emulate. It's used in meditation kinds of music or as a scientific tool to see where the different proportions of strings create harmonics. Thinking of each string as a voice, 6 strings at once is like a full chorus of sound as opposed to the individual. With so many voices, even the harmonics or slightly muted strings come through to the pickup a lot more clear, almost as if I can use my fingers as a slide. Speaking of slide, by twisting it, you have more voices go out of tune, like an actual analog chorus effect, pulling some interesting microtonal voices into the mix. We can listen to 5 of the root voices versus 1 playing a harmony, and keep adding and subtracting voices between those 2 notes until we get the total inverse to maybe utilize the volume of one note over the other. strum sequence could also make a difference in sound. Of course, we have to try strumming the extremely dissonant 1/2 step or 1 fret apart. But actually, some of that dissonance might be nice when you have those voices talking one over the other, and with multiple voices on the root grabbing most of the attention in the chorus. Now, just for fun, I'm going to try an almost standard tuning on all the thin strings. Trying to drop a full 2 octaves was just way too loose, so the bottom 3 strings are actually going to be tuned up an octave from that. So what do y'all think? Can I miss something cool to try in this kind of throwaway configuration? Is there an instrument connection somewhere I'm missing? It's been fun exploring all these different instruments and configurations I hadn't even thought of, with courses in particular being something I might want to dig deeper into. Dealing with instruments of above 9 strings, it starts to get to the point where you need to cluster some together. The sitar string specifically that I bought came with a total of 20 strings, and some of the 7 on top are usually separated into groups, unlike seeing them also evenly spaced on my 7 string. The strings can actually act as the sympathetic strings they were meant to be on the sitar if I had another neck or something attached to the body, which is a whole nother context we didn't even explore here. I was worried I wouldn't be able to find enough to try with a 1-note tuning, but I'm glad I did this, and I'm really glad I have some plain steel strings to reach for in the case of an inevitable breaking, with all the crazy tunings I do. For now though, enough said. For early video access, raw instrument tracks, and more exclusives, find our community on Patreon and consider adding your support.
Said too much.